Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Kate Rebel. This is Kate Rebel's Realm. Thank you so much for coming back for part 2 of the Nightmare Council. Part 1 was probably one of my favorites yet because I liked every single one of the stories of the heroes, so I'm pretty excited. I have my critter hands out because I don't know how to move and act like a normal person, which is why I'm so blessed that I get to sit here and talk to you guys and read stories. But anyway, let's get into this part 2 of the Nightmare Council. I feel like Legaru was in one of the other stories. Spitty little werewolf, you all. The Wolf King. On the deathly still nights of the Sanguise Mountains, if you close your eyes and listen above the stale wind, you will hear the hate-filled howl of Legaru, the Wolf King. A descendant of the ruined house of Lycansis, the noble werewolf house who once ruled over much of what is now known as the Sanguise Mountains. Legaru is obsessed with the idea of returning his now oppressed people to power so that the werewolves can have their revenge on the vampires who enslaved them. You're too spicy, buddy. I challenge you to a duel. As he plots his bloody revenge in the moonlight, Legaru gnashes his teeth in excitement at the idea of enslaving the few vampires he chooses not to rip to shreds. The history of the werewolves is passed on orally, told in howling song. The werewolf troubadours of his court sing of a time long ago when the house of Lycansis ruled over their mountains, hunting and protecting their lands with a violence so ferocious that only the bravest would dare venture within. Yet to the north, evil stirred in the house of Sanguise, a noble family of vampires. There had long been an uneasy peace between the houses of Lycansis and Sanguise, as neither was powerful enough to defeat the other. With the ascendancy of Volca, the Night Empress, among the vampires, however, it became evident that a more powerful vampire than her had existed for generations was rising like an evil star in Taya's night sky, declaring herself a goddess and promising a golden age for vampires. The Night Empress ordered the subjugation of the werewolves as slaves. As a result, the house of Lycansis fell. Legaru and his younger brother are now the only remaining members of the house. The rest slain and their heads impaled on spikes in Volca's foul castle. All Legaru lost was his eye, family, and his pride. Driven by mad rage, hatred, and humiliation, Legaru swore to avenge his family and restore the glory of his house, and sees himself as the reincarnation of a mythical werewolf king the troubadours howl songs of. A king who will drive out the vampires and establish an age of vengeful glory. Working in the gloom of the Sanguise Mountains and a gruesome tyrant in his own right, he has recruited a band of warriors to restore the house of Lycansis, slay the Night Empress, and rule over all vampires regardless of their beliefs. He has even slaughtered vampires who wish to destroy the Night Empress themselves, blinded by hate. This has been the major reason for his feud with his brother Theondis, who would prefer to work with the vampires in unity so their united peoples can know peace and glory together. Who's Theondis? Do we know him? Legaru would rather see the vampires burn in the fires of his halls and dangling from the jowls of his soldiers, for he knows nothing but the madness of rage and blood. When are we gonna get the werewolves and vampires to truly team up? Like, there's gotta be some sort of time and place when they go, you know what, it's just not worth it anymore. Abomination. Stitch by stitch. The product of dozens of doomed humans ripped asunder, sewn together, and turned into a demon through blasphemous magic as an affront to the gods. Abomination is among the most feared and mighty of the demons of the infernal volcano. Such is his power that he is locked away deep under the ground and only brought out when the demons wish to unleash their blasphemous hell beast. His rage against the horror of his creation and his constant pain grows by the day. It does not matter if it is a demon or elf before him, he will swing his mighty mace of burning hate at it to watch its limbs splinter. If this happens to you, pray your death is quick, for it has been said that he feeds on those still alive. Abomination is not one of the primordial demons spawned from all the negativity in the universe settling in physical, wretched forms. Rather, he is the result of a famous massacre 3,000 years ago when the early human kingdoms fought for the gods against the threat of the demonic horde. The battles were devastating, leading to huge human casualties and only limited demon losses. It was not until the intervention of the gods that the demon defeat began. However, there was one battle in which the demons incurred huge losses thanks to the inspired might of the humans of a town called Salavi. At this battle, high in the mountains near an ancient fort, it is said the demons lost hundreds against an army of just a few dozen humans. Yet, of course, the demons eventually overpowered the men of Salavi. Still, the demons are not known for turning down a good weapon, no matter where it is from. They then set their foulest minds and magic on the task of distorting the humans, tearing the corpses of these young men limb from limb, many of them still alive, mincing some of them together, peeling off their flesh, and creating a twisted and blasphemous weapon of mortal flesh they dubbed Abomination, in mockery of the men's hometown. The face of Abomination is that of their once noble commander, Dericlus. A name that drives the beast now to insanity, his head crowned with horns to humiliate him before the gods. Now Abomination is twisted by the cruelty of eternity, and the desire for revenge has made him as evil as the earliest of demons, driven by the instinct to rend others limb from limb so he can recreate his pain. So hot is his hatred that it burns his fierce mace, forged in the darkest chasms of the volcano where he lurks, imprisoned, waiting and dreaming of the violent ecstasy of his release. Ew! That's so disgusting. So he is just a bunch of bits of people. And they were like, well, you know what? This guy, this Abomination, our masterpiece that we are keeping underground, under our volcano until the day we need him, we're going to crown him by giving him the head of our ex-commander? And we're gonna get a little bit more personal again for arrogance, because as per part 1, I kinda liked it. Arrogance, Cinder Stalker Zakil. This ancient demon will never let you get close. With bow or sword, his enemies are charred to a crisp. Torn wings. In your deviant shadow, I find refuge and ruin, becoming lost in the abyss of our twisted desires. Lust. In the depths of the infernal realms where shadows dance with malevolence and whispers carry the weight of damnation, there treads a demon known as arrogance, the Cinder Stalker Sukil. Born of the same fiery abyss as his seductive sister Zilatu, Arrogance is adorned in crimson skin, his essence simmering with the intoxicating allure of power. Indeed, in the realm of demons, he and his sister are considered royalty. In their tumultuous kinship, Zilatu covered Arrogance's imposing frame with cursed ruins, seeking to shackle his unruly might so that he might not surpass her in power. Yet, in the depths of his fiery core, Arrogance discovered a perverse ingenuity. He twisted the runes, transforming them into conduits of his own dominion, binding their imprisoning magic to fuel his insatiable hunger for supremacy. But Arrogance's quest for dominance knows no bounds. Desiring a weapon befitting his grandeur, he rent his own wings asunder, forsaking his royalty and furthering the distance between himself and Zilatu, all for the sake of creating a weapon unparalleled in the infernal realms. From the twisted sinews of his torn flesh, he forged a masterpiece of malevolence, a dual-purpose instrument of torment, where bow and sword coalesced into a singular embodiment of his prowess. Amidst the tumult of the abyss, Arrogance found solace in the arms of another, the demoness of unquenchable desire, lust. Theirs is the union of infernal passion, where the flames of their yearnings continually sear the very fabric of existence. Yet, beneath the veil of ecstasy lies a tempest of torment and betrayal. Their love, a cauldron of venom and longing, entwines them in an endless dance of manipulation and deceit. Bound by the chains of their own depravity, Arrogance and lust revel in their toxic embrace, a symphony of ecstasy and agony that echoes through the halls of damnation. In the depths of their sinister affection, they play the roles of predator and prey, savoring the exquisite torment of their entwined destinies. For arrogance, the flames of his ambition burn even brighter. Fueled by the intoxicating allure of power and the tantalizing promise of dominion, and as shadows continue to whisper his name in reverent terror, he strides forth, a colossus of scorn and defiance, his crimson visage twisted in a malevolent grin, his heart ablaze with the infernal fires of conquest. Yeah, it's crazy that him and Zillatu, so I guess they're kind of a estranged family now, though, and Zillatu's doing her own thing. I feel kind of disappointed because his was a little bit more of his own story, whereas Lust's was very much about arrogance. It's okay, it was still a very good story. Thank you, arrogance. Ares. Ares, the Longhorn Impaler, a ferocious minotaur on a mission to liberate his people. Mini shout out to my favorite podcast, Clutch My Pearls. They did a book with Minotaur in it. Check it out. Longhorn Impaler. Like most beast races in Taya, minotaurs have been long exploited for their physical prowess. It's said that each minotaur contains the strength of at least 20 men, which begs the question of how they could ever be captured or exploited. The answer lies in their sense of duty towards family. Slavers long ago realized that minotaurs would relinquish all defiance if their lives of their kin were put in danger. As such, it was common practice to steal and cage the most vulnerable among them, calves. A widower, Ares, the Longhorn Impaler's life was changed forever when his child was stolen. Well respected amongst his herd for his prowess and protective instincts, Ares' main joy in life derived from looking after his only calf. Life was simple and clean, but while patrolling his herd's territory, Ares heard a squeal that all but froze his blood, spurring him home to discover his only son in a cage. Slavers. He gored 4 before a blade was put against the helpless calf's throat, ending the bloodshed. The slavers' terms were as follows. Ares and his son were to be transported to a mine. In exchange for the calf's well-being, Ares would toil until his very back broke. He was left with little choice. For years, Ares slaved away in the mines alongside other minotaurs whose loved ones were being held as collateral. They were allowed to see their families once a month through a thick set of bars with a large holding cell. Life drifted miserably like this until one day, Ares' son was nowhere to be found. Learning that the young calf had matured enough to be sold himself, the great bull flew into a paternal rage, lowering his jagged horns and tearing through the slavers with abandon. After freeing as many minotaurs as possible, debates for further plans of action resounded. After much deliberation, one among them raised a name whispered with both fear and reverence throughout Taya by all of their kind, Toreador, the Undying Bull. Tales of his brutality amongst humanoid species spread far and wide. At this, Ares knew at once he must recruit Toreador's help to end the suffering of their kind and reclaim his son. With a small but capable hand, the Minotaurs set off to find the Undying Bull. Ooh, it's crazy sad. Could you imagine? He's like, I will work and I will be enslaved just so that I know my son's alive. But he probably wasn't even being properly taken care of. He wasn't living a good life. And then he got sold off. I hope that the two of them can pair up together to find his son. Volca. I've been waiting for you. The Blood Mother, insatiable empress of the Scarlet Castle, feasting on crowds is her delight. I'm gonna do this again because I feel like it, because I want to, for you guys. I don't know what this story is going to be about, but hey. Eternal thirst. She was the first, the mother to us all, vampiric historian. With eyes as dark as the midnight sky and a voice that carries both allure and danger, she rules over her immortal kingdom with an iron fist wrapped in velvet gloves. But Volca, the Blood Mother, was not always a crimson queen of the shadows. Her tale began centuries ago, in a time where her heart still beat with life's warmth. Volca was a once beautiful princess, her radiance captivating all who beheld her. She was adored by her people with a kind heart that matched her ethereal grace. But fate took a cruel turn when her realm was invaded by a horde of monstrous creatures led by an evil sorcerer. The princess fought valiantly to protect her people, but ultimately fell to his clutches. Ensnared in the sorcerer's web of dark magic, Volca was transformed into Taya's very first creature of the night, a vampire. Her radiant beauty transformed. She remained alluring yet unearthly, and a newfound thirst for blood blossomed into an eternal craving. The once beloved princess emerged from the darkness as a vampiric queen, thirsty for vengeance. After slaughtering the sorcerer who ensnared her, she embraced her newfound power by turning others and wreaking havoc, all the while balancing yearnings derived from her former life. Her longing for love and companionship burned hot within her, the poison of desire. When a fey prince named Damon was sent to challenge her reign, Volca seduced him, weaving a web of dark lust around his heart. She whispered promises of eternal love and power, exploiting the prince's vulnerability and longing for adventure. Damon, enchanted by Volca's beauty and charisma, was blinded to the dark intentions lurking beneath her seductive facade. As their relationship deepened, Volca skillfully planted seeds of doubt in Damon's mind about his own family and the Fae. She painted a bleak picture of his kin as weak and complacent, unable to fulfill their true potential. With each passing night, Damon's loyalty to his family waned, and he became entangled in Volca's web of manipulation. As their worlds collided, Volca made Damon her lover and confidant, and in a fateful moment of passion, she bit him, binding their fates together. Though her thirst appears unquenchable, the Blood Mother rules alongside her loyal lover and bodyguard, his sole desire to satiate the one who turned him. As of now, the pair have been nigh unstoppable. Okay. This is what we were talking about, arrogance. We wanted a little bit more. Okay, I am really excited about Hatsa. So we got a little bit of lore with Osiren with her. So that's cool. So we kind of have an idea of her being like the queen. Savagely beautiful, this immortal sharpshooter's out for blood. Blood and wine. The floor was so wet with blood it filled your shoes. Witness of a royal massacre. In an idyllic desert kingdom, Hatsa only knew life as a naive, soft-hearted princess. When she was young, her parents succumbed to a mysterious disease, unintentionally subjecting her to a cutthroat political world. However, her advisors and ministers uplifted her, guiding her on a path to become queen. She trusted her subjects dearly, and often forwent the pretenses of royalty to treat them as family. If only she could have known how her kindness would be repaid. On the eve of her 20th birthday, an ascension ceremony was held to grant her queenhood and elevate her beloved to kinghood. The coronation became a bloodbath instead. The advisors and ministers she trusted so dearly rebelled against the monarchy, slaughtering everyone who remained loyal to secure their own twisted power. During the carnage, Hatsut's lover was murdered in cold blood right before her eyes. She was mocked for her idiocy. Her cherubic face twisted with horror as she regarded those she had trusted with her very life. Finally, her blood stained the throne as well. She had been a fool, but for no longer. In death, Hatsut's boiling rancor earned admiration from the gods of the netherworld, who would give her the opportunity for revenge if she proved herself worthy first. Hatsut serves the dark gods, killing corrupt kings and traitors across the realm. She's become cold, distant, and viciously cruel, traits contrasting entirely with her former persona. Deep down, she knows that rage and revenge will never be enough to fill the holes in her heart, but she is powerless to resist their call. That's it? It's done? Oh my god, I thought there was gonna be more. That was just really sad. Girl, just 20 years old, about to become a queen with her king, and everything was ruined, and now she's undead and evil. Salazar. Do you think he's gonna talk about his girl? Let's see, I'm excited. Born on the pyre. Centennial power resides within this one. A dragon now walks amongst us. Scalekin Elder. Prophecies are rare amongst the Scalekin folk that roam Taya, but there is one in which every member of their proud race is well versed. That of the Dragonborn, Salazar, the Bloodblade chieftain, knows this story all too well, as he has shaped the course of his entire life. As legends go, the first Scalekins were formed from the final breath of the almighty dragon. Each century, on the anniversary of the dragon's death, all Scalekin eggs are placed on a great burning pyre. Morbidly enough, most eggs melt in the flames, killing the offspring within before they can hatch. All but one, that is. Salazar was the lone hatchling amidst the blades that bore him, his very blood granting him immense power. While most celebrated his birth, hoping he'd one day lead the Scalekins from the muck and mire they dwelt in, others were far more covetous. One starless night, the cunning chief and shaman of Salazar's jungle tribe crept into his hut, unsheathing his sacrificial dagger and making for the young Scalekin's bedroll. Just as the chief struck for his throat, Salazar's mother sprung to action, defending her sleeping son. She did not last long. Now awake and enraged at the sight of his mother's lifeless body, Salazar unknowingly channeled the power of his dragon blood and slew the chief with his own dagger. When the rest of the tribe learned of what had occurred whilst they slept, they declared the young dragonborn the Bloodblade chieftain. Today he commands a sizable force of jungle Scalekins, wielding the dagger designed to claim his life as a reminder to never be caught unaware again. You were just a kid. You were just sleeping. How is that all he gets for his story? It's so short. He's like Rambo, dude. But now we get to do Toreador, the Undying Bull. Let's see if his story matches up with Ares. Faction leader of the Nightmare Council, the Undying Bull tramples foes in fire. Horns of Hellfire. They created a monster and will reap what they've sown. Ares. You find yourself deep within a maze of fire and ash, the acrid smell of sulfur almost impossible to bear as it swarms your lungs. You weave in vain, stumbling blindly down the myriad paths when any semblance of hope within you suddenly wafts away. Dead end. Digging into the reserves of your strength, you turn with the intention of backtracking through the haze when you're pierced by a sight of burning eyes just ahead. Despite the heat, chills rack your spine as a bestial exhale spirals the smoke as something scrapes against the stone floor in a rhythmic pattern. A mile-long moment passes before the jagged horns of Toreador, the undying bull, pierce through the fog. Your fate is sealed. It is unknown how the infernal Minotaur originally came to defend the maze surrounding the Nightmare Council's primary lair, only that it was not of his own volition. Many speculate that he had sold his soul for some nefarious purpose, while others believe he was fashioned by demons for the sheer thrill of controlling another tortured soul. Whenever any of Taya's other factions mustered the resolve to strike at the heart of the Nightmare Council, Toreador was the first in line of defense, and the last thing his enemies saw before their eyes closed forever. But the Undying Bull was far from content with his role as a guardian. For centuries he roamed the maze, his rage building with every goring he'd administer. Though a sleepless agent of death, he still dreamt of one thing he prized above all: freedom. The overseers of the Nightmare Council paid little mind as he rammed his horns into the same spot on the walls of the maze, attributing his behavior to madness while deriving glee from the self-inflicted punishment. Little did they know he was merely biding his time. One fateful night, Toreador drove through the walls he'd been weakening all those years, charging into a straight line through one after another until he was finally free. The council realized far too late that their prized guardian had escaped and was now hell-bent on revenge. The Undying Bull is free of his shackles and will not rest until those who put him in the maze are hanging from his horns. What? Oh my good golly gee. These stories have been incredible. Thank you, Nightmare Council. I was very bored with the first two factions. I am having the best time. This Nightmare Council has refueled my love. This story? Okay, so when they had him, when the Nightmare Council had him as their leader shackled in the maze, were they throwing all the other factions into this maze and he was just one after another, defeating them. That was really interesting. It didn't really pair up with Ares too much, but I guess Ares, I think, came in later, and Ares was like, I've heard of this Minotaur named Torador. But thank you all so much for watching part 2 of the Nightmare Council. We're going to be on to the cultists next time, and I'm pretty excited about that too. They gotta have some good ones, right? Am I right? I don't know who I'm talking to right now. Leave your comments down below who your favorite was in this faction. Part 1, part 2, whatever you want. I just want to know, because I loved every single one of those stories. I'm so happy right now. I feel filled with joy, and I'm excited to play the game again. I mean, I play it every day, but you know, I got like a little burst of passion. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, put that bell notification on. People still even say that? I don't know. Comment, talk to me. I like talking to you guys. I'm Kate Rebel. This is Kate Rebel's Realm, and I'll see you guys next time. What am I doing? Where was he? Where were you, Ligaro? I know that name. Somewhere, somehow. If Nyx and Deimos can do it, we can do it. Let's just all do it together. Jesus. Zelatus' sister? Huh? What? Oh my god. They created a monster. Nobody wants to see Martian no more. They want Shady on chopped liver. We're gonna make it memorable. I am the Golden God.